when you are developing landscape drawings, as far as we're concerned, best practice is to draw on layer 0 all the time and later move things to an appropriate layer. In this drawing here, I've got a lighting which sits on or starts rather, at this power point here, low voltage lighting, turns around the corner and skirts a paved area with a couple of pieces of furniture there. So if I select the dashed line that represents lighting, can you see if you look over here, it's on a layer called L-lighting. Let's look at the layers in this drawing. Here's the layer drop-down box. Can you see that anything to do with the house, the fence and the house footprint starts with arc. Anything to do with landscaping information that we add is placed on layer artwork, a deck, dolomite, crushed dolomite for the underneath the pavers, furniture, images and so on. So we can really quickly and easily sort this drawing out. Say for the sake of argument, I wanted to hatch this area through here. Can you see that because planting is in that zone already, it's going to be difficult for me to draw a polyline around there and then hatch it to indicate some mulching. So what I can do, because the drawing is structured in this way, all symbols are on a layer called plant symbol, I can simply go OK, and that clears this area. So now it's a simple matter to draw a polyline around there, and I suggest you work with, in the properties box, everything on layer 0. Now I can start my polyline, draw a polyline around that zone, hatch it with whatever hatch pattern I want, and that puts some symbology in to indicate mulching. So can you see the irrigation line here is drawn on its own layer? Let me select it. So I can separate out whatever I want and then work with whichever zone I want without the danger of things crashing into one another. So if I was to design a little symbol to represent a fire pit here, so that people could sit on these bench seats and the fire pit will sit there somewhere, I draw it up as I've done over here, and if I select, say, the outer circle, can you see it's on layer 0? I draw everything on layer 0. In this case, I'm giving a colour to some of these polylines, and when I've finished, I just select them and move them to, let's say, L-furniture. So it's on a furniture layer now, and what I might then want to do is to turn that into a block. So I'll select it and create a block. We'll call it fire pit. And whoops, I've got my caps lock on. Let me take it off. So we give it a name, fire pit. We OK it. Now we can pick it up and move it. Well, what I did not do correctly then, and let's fix it, is I didn't have the base point where I wanted it. If I select it there and I pan across, my base point is way up the top. That's very bad drafting. So let me click it and explode and drag a box around it again. I'm going to turn this into a block. It's still going to be called fire pit. What I needed to do is to pick a point in the centre there. Yes, I want to redefine it. Now we can pick it and move it across and put it in position. It's on layer 0 now because I always draw on layer 0, but you know that we've moved everything in that block to layer furniture. So now I could work with this drawing, turning layers on and off at will. For example, now if I can turn the furniture layer off, just click on the light bulb, all the furniture disappeared. What I haven't done yet is create a layer for my notes, so let's do that. To create a new layer, it's click here, double click in there, but be careful, it's now become the active layer, and we want the active layer to be layer 0. So this becomes L-notes. The convention that I'm using here, naming layers L, everything to do with landscape work starts with L, everything to do with electrical should start E if there were any major high voltage electricity, everything to do with architecture is arc. and so on. So we've now got L-notes, so we can move the word irrigation, the text irrigation, to a layer L-notes. And now we can use the modify match properties and just match the properties of all of the text. I'm just clicking, having selected the first one that I changed, I'm just now picking all of the others, and away they go. So now if I go in here and make my layer 0 current, I can turn off my notes and most of them should disappear. You can see I missed a couple down in that zone, but that's easily fixed. If you find you've turned on an awful lot of layers through here, a quick way to turn them back on is to right click over the word all and say visibility is now on. The light bulbs all turn on and we can see all layers in the drawing. I've added a piece of artwork down near this entrance here, so in the layout I want to show the type of artwork and the type of seating and even the electrical layout for the low voltage lighting, and you can see an example of it here. That image is on its own layer called L-images. It belongs to the landscape layer, whereas the house footprint, of course, belongs to the arc layer. If I pick there's the house footprint. So you can see if you work in this structured way, the take-home lesson is draw everything on layer 0 first and move it on to an appropriate layer once you've done the design work. If you are going to make blocks, make all those on layer 0 as well, and then just move them to an appropriate layer when you've finished. So I hope that helps in understanding of how to structure a landscape drawing. And later on when we move to SketchUp, you see you should structure your SketchUp in exactly the same way.